In today's world of constant volatility, the role of the supply chain has completely changed. It's just not about moving goods efficiently anymore. So today, we're going to dig into how you can transform your supply chain from a huge potential risk into what could be your company's most powerful competitive weapon. And that's really the question every supply chain leader is wrestling with right now. In a world where disruption is just the new normal, a rigid, slow supply chain isn't just a line item on a budget, it's a critical liability that can bring your entire company to its knees. The alternative? Well, it's a resilient, agile ecosystem that actually drives growth and creates real shareholder value. And this is the absolute core idea here. We're talking about a shift from a purely defensive stance to an offensive one. You see, resilience isn't just about surviving the next shock anymore. It's about actually using that volatility to get a strategic leg up on the competition. So, how do we build that resilience? Well, you have to start by understanding the landscape. And today, that landscape is, well, it's a super complex web of interconnected risks that can send ripples through your entire network. I'm talking from your smallest suppliers all the way to your final customer. Now, what's really fascinating here is how these risks all feed into each other. Geopolitical tensions, they create trade volatility and tariff nightmares. And that, in turn, fuels economic instability, sudden demand shocks and serious pressure on your margins. All while our reliance on digital systems opens us up to massive cybersecurity risks. And then, layered on top of everything, is this growing web of environmental, social, and governance, or ESG rules, that can hit you with huge financial and reputational damage. And if you needed a wake-up call on that cybersecurity point, look at this. Over a third of all data breaches last year didn't even start inside a company. They came from third-party partners. Just let that sink in for a second. Your supply chain's digital footprint is your company's attack surface. A weak link in one partner is a vulnerability for everyone, and as a leader, securing it is on you. But here's the flip side. What some people see as just another risk can actually be a huge advantage. A mature ESG strategy isn't just about checking a compliance box. The companies that are really leading the charge here are seeing real-world benefits. We're talking up to a 25% drop in operational costs and a pretty amazing 35% jump in customer loyalty. It's a clear win for both efficiency and for shareholder value. And of course, the pressure just keeps on mounting. On top of everything else, we're dealing with huge systemic issues, like shortages of critical materials, from copper to semiconductors, plus failing infrastructure like our ports and bridges, and the fact that global networks are becoming more fragmented as companies try to nearshore. I mean, the complexity is just staggering. So, how in the world do you respond to all this? Well, the answer starts with a fundamental shift in philosophy. We have to evolve our thinking from being focused only on lean efficiency to embracing a hybrid model, one that's all about agile resilience. For decades, lean was the absolute gold standard. And for good reason. It's fantastic for stable, predictable markets where your goal is to squeeze out every last bit of waste. But in today's world, we need more. Agile supply chains are built for uncertainty. They prioritize being responsive and flexible by using real-time data and modular designs. So the crucial point here isn't about choosing one or the other. It's about integrating them. The goal is to blend lean principles for the stable parts of your business with agile capabilities for the more volatile parts. What you get is a hybrid system that's both cost-effective and tough. One that can take a punch, respond to market shifts, and keep your customers happy, all without killing your efficiency. A perfect example of this agility in action is the CPFR model, that stands for Collaborative Planning, Forecasting, and Replenishment. So instead of everyone working in their own little silos, this framework forces deep collaboration between manufacturers, retailers, and suppliers. By sharing forecasts and planning together, you get real-time visibility into what customers are actually buying, and that is absolutely critical for taming that dreaded bullwhip effect and making the whole chain more responsive. Of course, this big strategic shift doesn't just happen on its own. It's enabled and really accelerated by a powerful new technology stack. This is the toolkit you're going to need to build the supply chain of the future. And at the very foundation of it all is AI and big data. We're moving way beyond simple forecasting based on what happened last year. Now, we can analyze massive, messy datasets in real time to create predictive models that don't just tell us what happened, they tell us what's likely to happen next. And strategically, this is a total game changer. AI lets you simulate incredibly complex scenarios, predict disruptions before they happen, and make proactive calls to cut down on risks before they blow up your operations. It also automates a ton of routine work, which frees up your best people to focus on strategy. Now, building on that is the idea of a digital twin. Imagine a living, breathing, virtual model of your entire supply chain. Every factory, every warehouse, every shipping lane, all of it, constantly updated with real-time data. This isn't just a static map, it's a dynamic simulation of your entire world. And this is where strategy gets really powerful. With a digital twin, you can run all kinds of detailed what-if scenarios. What if a major port shuts down? What if a key supplier goes offline? What if demand suddenly spikes by 30%? You can test your response and fine-tune your contingency plans with zero real-world risk. It gives your whole organization a single, data-driven view of reality. Okay, finally, let's talk about trust and transparency, because that's where blockchain comes in. At its heart, it's just a shared, unchangeable record book for every transaction. In a network that has dozens of partners, it creates a single, trusted source of truth that absolutely everyone can see and verify. And you can see its value in a really practical way here. Need to track Scope 3 emissions? Those indirect emissions across your value chain for an ESG report? Well, blockchain provides a perfect, unchangeable audit trail. Need to prove a critical component is authentic? It's right there on the ledger. This tech fundamentally builds trust and security between partners, and that is the absolute bedrock of any resilient network. So when you start to bring all these pieces together, the big strategic shift to agility and this powerful technology stack, a really clear vision for a future-proof supply chain starts to take shape. This is what the experts are calling Supply Chain 4.0. And look, this isn't just another marketing buzzword. It's a whole new paradigm where your supply chain acts like a single, intelligent organism. Just imagine, a fully connected, smart, and agile ecosystem where data flows without friction, decisions are predictive, and the entire network can adapt to anything as one. And the potential impact here, it is genuinely transformative. We're not talking about small, incremental gains. Analysis from folks like McKinsey suggests that companies who reach this level of maturity can cut their inventory and lost sales by up to 75%, and see admin costs just plummet by as much as 80%. I mean, those are the kind of numbers that completely redefine what it means to be competitive. So the big question is, how do you get there? Well, it boils down to this really clear 4-step framework. First, you have to align your supply chain strategy directly with your company's biggest goals. Is it growth, profitability, sustainability? Your supply chain has to be driving that. Second, you have to consciously build resilience and flexibility right into the design of your network. We're talking supplier diversification, contingency plans, adaptable processes. Third, you've got to foster deep, tech-powered collaboration with all your key partners. And finally, you have to use real-time data to measure everything, creating a culture of constant, data-driven improvement. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one core mindset shift. You have to stop reacting to disruption like it's some big surprise. Instead, you have to start planning for volatility as just a standard operating condition. That right there is the foundation of a truly resilient organization. Look, we all know this kind of transformation is a journey. It's not an overnight fix. So I'll leave you with this question. What is the one small shift, whether it's in a process, a piece of tech, or in your culture, that you can start making today to begin building the resilience that your organization is absolutely going to depend on tomorrow?